Do. Who's there? Oh man, I don't think we're gonna get a whole lot of viewers today. Oh, probably not gonna get a whole lot of viewers today. I'm stretching. People are all they're all Monday down. You know what I mean? They're all deep in the lore of Monday. There's the button. Where's the button? Is the end of the song? Oh, there it is. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to another Monday. How you doing? It's the 28th of March. It's the 28th of March, 2022. How's everybody doing today? Hope you're doing all right. Who was first to the chat today? Who was first? Aubrey. Aubrey was first. Pipex. Wesley's Fish Club. Alyssa S. Frank Dominguez, Aqua Blue Bear, Steve Bearteach, Joel G, Jason Livingston, Alyssa Bentlew, Tony Franzen, Carrie Pitt, Aubrey. I already said Aubrey. Members, patrons, unite. Speaking of memberships, our memberships have dropped again. It's a sad day, guys. We're down to 77 now. Boo-hoo. We've lost a couple of members, but that's how it's going to be. That's how it's going to be today. All right, guys? So we shall just continue on. Ever forward. Ever forward. But anyhow, what was the title today? Okay, so the first thing we have to do is click this button over here. And just in case somebody wants to become a member, I shall copy this link. And if you're like that person on the iPhone that's like, I don't understand the join button, I don't know how to find it, I don't know how to do it, there you go. It's in the chat. Done. Second show note of the day. We need to do a Monday follow-up on the elk thing about reintroduction. Yeah, we were talking about the elk reintroduction on Friday's show. And I couldn't remember the exact lore of it. It was escaping me. But here it is. I don't want to read that paragraph. Here we go. Fossil bones indicate that subspecies of elk once existed in the interior Alaska during the Pleistocene period, but all of the elk currently in Alaska were introduced from the Pacific Northwest in the last century. The first successful translocation involved 8 Roosevelt elk calves that were captured on the Olympic Peninsula of Washington State in 1928 and moved to Afognak Island near Kodiak in 1929. These elk have successfully established themselves on both Afognak and Raspberry Islands. The second successful transplant occurred in 1987 when 33 Roosevelt elk and 17 Rocky Mountain elk were captured in Oregon and moved to Etolin Island near Petersburg in southeast Alaska. These elk subsequently dispersed and established a second breeding population on neighboring Zarembo Island. There it is, folks. That's what I was trying to remember from my brain parts, from my stinky brain parts. And just a little heads up there. Afognak Island. We try to track Afognak Island around about these parts because that's Victoria, my spouse, my actual spouse, you know? Anyhow, moving on. So that was the follow-up to the Friday, hey, what are you talking about thing. So first things first today, we shall talk a little bit about the fish room move. And give you guys an idea on what is going on so far. I basically have been filming a little bit of it. There hasn't been anything that's necessarily film worthy for you guys to ever watch, but just filming some time lapse stuff around moving things and whatnot. But the first step was to completely clear out my garage and reorganize, clean up all that stuff, get some storage units, and do a bunch of crazy nonsense. It's been a wild weekend. We handed off Olivia on Saturday morning to the grandparents, who just said, "Yeah, we gotta go. Yeah, we gotta go, bro." And so they took off, and Vicky and I spent the whole weekend just working on packing things, moving stuff around, doing dump runs, giving stuff away, blah blah blah, all that kind of jazz. So it's not super exciting. There's nothing really like super exciting going on realistically, but so far things are going along pretty well. We've moved a bunch of stuff out of the attic. We moved a bunch of stuff out of the basement. Stuff's just going along as quickly as we possibly can. So, as I mentioned on Friday, people were like really confused as to how this house needs to be under contract so that our financing will go through. Long story short, we don't have enough members. We don't have enough YouTube members. No, the reality is that, we're not millionaires or whatever, so things need to be financed. So the bank needs the financing numbers to make sense. That's basically how that goes. That's the easiest explanation I can give to people, is that, like, go to the bank and see if you qualify, see what happens, and if they have qualifiers for you or not. Chances are the bank's probably going to have some qualifiers for you, and this happens to be one of them for us. So we'll be handling that as best we can. Yeah, but as far as the fish room goes, it looks like I got a couple people to help out with keeping things alive for me. I'm going to sell some of the fish that I have pseudo locally. I think I've got the transportation all dialed in on what's going to happen with those. So, like, all my bristle nose, all that kind of stuff, I'm going to get those out of here and figured out. And we'll get that stuff rolling, one way or another. All the tanks aren't broken down or anything like that because I didn't have time. Didn't have time to get to that yet. As I mentioned, we had somebody visit last week, and they broke the landing of the stairs up in the attic, which is it's a new one for me. It's like the landing on the stairs is broken, because somebody was jumped down on it, which is kind of weird. It was kind of weird to me, but we got all that repaired. I had a bunch of other stuff to do around here, but a lot of it's getting done, and hopefully, the thing that really irritates me about this whole situation was, is that our plan was to have plenty of time to move. We have time to pack everything up, and move it. Get it, that was the plan. That plan is just foobarred now. It just doesn't exist. So this has turned into what would have been sort of normal-ish days of, just kind of packing things up and moving them, have turned into these like 18-hour slogs of, carrying stuff around, fixing this, carrying that, pack this thing, do that, carry that, move this, carry that, drive to the dump, blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, so it's definitely suboptimal for the middle-aged people that we are. This is definitely not the plan of how we were going to move things and whatnot, but it's where we are, and there's not really like a whole lot to do about it that can be done other than just start working and get to work on it and hopefully, knock down the stuff that we have to do. and get it done. Yeah. People are just not chatting today, and there's just not that many people showing up for the live stream. So we're just going to move on to the next thing because we don't have any questions in the chat or anything like that. So the other thing that was going on this weekend was the insanity of the Oscars, apparently. There's been a whole bunch of drama surrounding this apparent moment of the Oscars, which was the Will Smith apparently attacked Chris Rock. He apparently ran up on stage and supposedly slapped him in the face. Now, my first take on this is that it's completely staged. That he looked to me like he didn't even hit him. It looked to me like a staged slap, like a stage slap, which means you don't actually hit the person. Generally speaking, that's what it looked like. And even after following up and watching it a couple of times, it's like, I don't even think he hit that guy for real. I think it was all just a put on, a stage show by professional actors, right? Which is my initial interpretation. I think it was staged. I think it was fake. I'm getting 900 phone calls today, because I applied for a mortgage. The first whole thing is I think it was staged. Just to get that out there, just so people understand that, like, I don't even think he actually hit him. Now, my first takeaway is that if you were struck by somebody on stage, definitely press charges, regardless of who the person is. It does not matter who comes up and slaps you on stage. Press charges, 100%, 1,000%. I don't even care what the percentage is. He should assuredly have charges pressed against him. He should have to deal with the legal trouble of it if it was actually what happened. Carrie Pitt says whatever, it's their drama. It's not their drama because it's going to be in the zeitgeist now. Like, everyone is going to be talking about this for the next week from a public event. It's not like their drama, it's a public event, right? So that's why I would talk about it. But it looks super fake. But I would say that, like, anybody that's doing anything on stage, if you are hit by somebody from the crowd, if somebody has violently attacked you, even if it was like only kind of violently attacked you, you should definitely press charges against them because you're setting a precedent that is super dangerous for the rest of the world, right? For everybody, forever. If you're worth $500 million or whatever, you don't get a free pass to get to go slap people on stage when they say things that you don't like, especially in the United States. Maybe some weird country you live in, it's the law that you can do that. Sure, maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. So I wouldn't... necessarily put it in those terms. Carrie, I don't know why you're mad. I guess you got to go. Everyone with no life. Okay. I mean, if it was the president or a senator or somebody else, like, would it be something that we should talk about? I don't know. Carrie's mad. Okay. But some of the things that I wanted to address, because I have a show, I'm going to come on and I'm going to talk about it, was some of the stuff that I saw today via Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, all the social media nonsense that was happening. It's like super hot in here today. I don't know why. I'm turning my fan on. It's like super hot in my office today. I'm turning my fan on. I wanted to address some of the things that I saw because we're beginning to set a precedent here if this somehow is acceptable, even though it's not. Even though it's not acceptable. Like, we have laws against this, right? Like, we have well-established laws. It's called assault and battery. which is, why do we have these laws? Because this is not how we accept society to behave. But one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it today is because I saw a lot of social media people, or people on social media that were like, they were posting all these memes, and some of them I understand were just comedy, Some of them were just comedy, and I'm like, all right, I can get behind that. That's just kind of funny. But the thing that was disturbing to me is I started to see a lot of disturbing memes, basically, that were like, find a husband that will defend you like Will Smith did. And it's like, do you mean a husband that's going to go to jail for you because he can't, he doesn't even have the restraint to not like hit somebody that's on stage? Like, it's not going to go well. I'm going to tell you. I know lots of people that went to jail for battery and it didn't go well for them. So maybe you want to be the edge case that like it works out well for you, but I definitely would not recommend it. I also saw some people that were in favor of that were really in favor of like silencing speech you don't like through violence, but I don't think that they realized that's what they were saying. And I don't think that that's amenable at all. I don't even think that's even remotely how society should operate or could continue to operate. Because what level of violence are we willing to accept from the audience, right? Like, I don't know if you guys realize this, but like 1 out of every 6 American presidents have been shot or something like that. I should look that up. How many U.S. presidents have been shot? 4 presidents have been assassinated, but how many of them have been shot? Oh, is it only 4? I thought it was 6. Oh, 4 presidents have been killed. Additionally, 2 presidents have, Additionally, 2 have been injured in attempts. Ronald Reagan and Theodore Roosevelt. So is that 1 in 6? No, it's not 1 in 6. That's 1 in 8, right? And I think that the reality that we want to be living under is a lot more sane than like presidents just getting shot or whatever, right? And I don't think we should be accepting of this at all. And I don't think anybody should be even writing a single excuse for it, because apparently Will Smith's wife, what's her name? I forget her name now. I can't remember his wife's name. I forget her name. But apparently she has some kind of medical condition that has made her bald, which is unfortunate, and that is terrible. And hopefully she can get help for that. That's hopefully she can get help. She can get it cleared up if that's something that she's battling with or dealing with or something like that. But to the extent of my knowledge, it's not a life-threatening issue, right? Like, I think it's just a problem. But let's say that we took a parallel here. That every time somebody made fun of the guy who played George Costanza on Seinfeld for being bald, or anyone who's ever made fun of a bald guy before, I guess if we're going to switch the roles, I guess that like their wives should just be going around slapping everybody. I don't know. It's pretty weird. Like, the thing is, what happened last night could have easily been resolved by, Will Smith was screaming at Chris Rock, who is apparently like just right over there, like, I don't know, 30, 40 feet away or something. Um, you know, like, yelling at him seemed to have worked also. And I could understand that, like, if you're mad at somebody else's speech and you utilize your form of speech, in my mind, it's like, okay, at least that's a 1-to-1. But as a society, like, we've deemed that, like, the person that violently escalates the situation is the person that's in the wrong here. I don't know if any charges are going to be brought up, but if any charges are never brought up, then I think we should all just agree that it was completely a fake stunt. And we might as well just chalk it up to David Copperfield type stage antics, right? More than anything. Jada Pinkett has a very common to black women form of alopecia, which is frequently used to degrade black women in general, according to my persons of color female presenting friends. Yeah, I mean, look, if somebody made fun of Rosie O'Donnell for being overweight, right? Do we suddenly just say, "Oh yeah, I guess physically attack that person," right? Like, is that okay? Rosie O'Donnell is like totally a wild card conspiracy theorist person. Should we, should we violently attack everyone that made fun of George Costanza for being bald, right? Like, the whole thing just makes no lick of sense. Then, like, what's the next step? Can we just attack all comedians that if we don't like their jokes? Should we just attack all of them forever? That whole thing, it just doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense when you look at it through the lens of, like, what are the next incremental steps to this whole situation? Like, do we just keep escalating until there's a war? Because there already is a war going on right now, right? Do we all understand that? Pine Belt Aquatic says, I think there is a time and a place, and it's one thing to be at a comedy club getting roasted, and one being at an award show. Yes, but it's an award show that's specifically being hosted by a comedian that roasts people in the audience, right? Do we not think that Chris Rock makes fun of people? Like, who could possibly imagine out there that Chris Rock is going to tell off-color, edgy jokes, right? Like, that's what he does. I don't know. It has forced upon me. I wanted a prize ceremony. Got no time for childish behaviors except the time I already put into their often bad movies, mostly copies of old stories I don't need once again. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's the thing, is that, like, but how much do these people get paid to go to the Oscars, right? Because if you're appearing at the Oscars and you're a SAG member, the Screen Actors Guild, they're going to use your likeness for the benefit of making money, right? Like, the Oscars is a money-making operation. Hold on a second. How much do... Okay. How much do actors and directors get for winning an Oscar? What the? No. Oh, we shall disagree. We shall disagree to all. You should have a disagree all button in your cookies thing, because now I have to click through it. We shall not. We shall have no cookies. No cookies saved ever. There we go. So I forget how much you get for winning an Oscar, but you do get. There's no direct cash prize. Yeah, but for appearing on screen, you have to be paid if you're speaking. So when you hold on, let me find out what the SAG payment is. Payment. ENT. There we go. Oh my God! Every website you go to is a disaster. But it's my understanding that like if you have a speaking part on these award shows, like if you win an award and you go up and you do a speaking part, you get your what is it? The minimum. You get the what is it? There's a minimum. And there's a name for it. I can't remember what it is. But the idea is that like if you're going to the Oscars, for instance, right? Like you're a representative of one of the companies that, like let's say if you got nominated for an award and it was a Warner Brothers production or something like that, like you're basically going as a representative of Warner Brothers, right? It's like a work thing. And for anybody to like view it as not a work thing, like from our standpoint, is that if you were to go to a work function for work, and somebody was up there talking, and you decided to just go up on stage because you didn't like what he said and slap them during the work function, right? Like that's basically what you're looking at right now, right? Is that like you're going to a work function because of your job, and then you go there and decide to like commit an act of violence while you're at it. Now, as an actor, you could obviously lose like future jobs, but that doesn't take away the criminality of the specific crime that you've committed, right? So that's why I'm so opposed to this whole situation of anybody like writing this off as some kind of normal behavior, because it's not. And if we're deciding to go back this route, I don't know what to tell you, but it's just going to only escalate and get out of hand, which is a mess. In the Bible, a bald man got made fun of by a bunch of children, prayed to God, and God sent a bear to murder all those children. Yep, that's in the Bible. So, yeah, it could be an issue. I think we all learned in the past 2 years that the Oscars could have just been an email. Yeah, I think that's true. That's the thing. Like, that's the reason that I think this whole thing is a stunt. And especially because of that, I don't think any of us should be thinking that this is normal behavior, because it's pretty clearly a stunt to me. And if it is a stunt, then it really shouldn't apply in any function of regular society, right? Like this should not apply. If you just decide to, hey, who's that Evil Knievel jumped over school buses with this motorcycle? If we just went, well, that's completely normal. I guess everybody with a motorcycle should just jump over buses, and everyone should just do all that all the time now, right? Like it's the same thing with this. I don't see any kind of positive side to this. I see nothing positive to be gained for society. I don't think anything positive to be gained for the people involved. I don't think that Chris Rock learned a lesson. I don't think that Will Smith learned a lesson. I don't think that either of them learned anything. So it's like you could say somebody jumped over some buses with his motorcycle, and if he crashed, you could go like, well, maybe he learned a lesson here. Maybe there was a lesson to be learned for the guy who crashed to maybe stop doing that. Maybe that would be a thing. Chris Rock made a comment to a super old movie that was called G.I. Jane with Demi Moore. And, to play that role, Demi Moore had to shave her head. It was a million years ago. I don't even know when that movie came out. Hold on. G.I. Jane. When did this movie come out? This movie came out like a million years ago. Yeah, 1997. Right? So, like, if I had a criticism of the joke, the criticism of the joke to me is that it was 25. That movie was 25 years ago, and barely anybody saw it. I don't even remember if it was a blockbuster hit. The box office was 48 million, which is obviously a lot more back then compared to now. But, like, it wasn't even a good movie. It wasn't a good movie. I don't even know if anybody even remembers what that movie was about, or like an off-the-cuff reference to G.I. Jane. Because I think a lot of the people that are even commenting on this whole situation at the Oscars, or whatever the hell you want to call it, a lot of the people probably weren't even born. They probably weren't even born when this stupid movie came out. And it is a dumb movie, I will tell you. I know that it says here that Ridley Scott made it, and I never would have guessed that, realistically. But, even on the IMDb page, there's advertising for, like, watching a different movie than even watching this movie. That's how old it is. So I don't even understand that, like, anybody would even have gotten the joke, which is why I would be like, I don't know why this game is any good, or I don't even know why this joke is any good. It was like, I talk about a movie that came out 25 years ago or something. Yeah, I don't know. Have I been to a Kraken game yet? No, I haven't. I have always been rooting for Seattle to get a hockey team. I love hockey. Hockey's a fantastic sport. I love it. And the tie-in there would be, I saw somebody even say that, like, look at these hockey guys fighting. So hockey guys are fighting. So it's cool if actors are fighting on stage. It'll be like, it doesn't have any, hockey's a completely different sport where, you may or may not have to do some fisticuffs. You might have to have some fighting involved because that's part of the sport. If someone hits you with a fist, it's breaking the law, right? So if no one calls the police or report it, then it couldn't have been that bad. Signaling to use, it's like you say. They're signaling to us, it's like you say. The thing is that, like, the biggest issue here is like writing off of this, like, insane idea that somebody says something that you could just run over and just punch them and it's fine, or slap them, or do whatever. And it's completely nuts. It's completely bonkers. It's completely antithetical to anything that the United States is about. The First Amendment is about having freedom of speech. Now, obviously, the First Amendment is about the government not stopping you from your freedom of speech, right? And a lot of people out there would say, well, it doesn't give you freedom from consequences. And you go, yes, it doesn't give you freedom from consequences, but the issue is that you don't have freedom from consequences from enacting violence on other people. And if you did enact violence on somebody else, then you have those consequences to deal with, right? And it's weird because I've noticed this from a lot of groups out there. I don't want to pigeonhole one group, but I've heard it from a lot of people that, like, if you just go and say stuff, you don't have freedom from consequences. But the reality is that yes, you don't have freedom from consequences, but the consequences that Will Smith should be paying right now should be much higher than just being made fun of on Facebook, So, yeah, it's pretty wild. We are now Team Calgary. Calgary, Sweden. A Swede took his job. What happened? Yes, it is interesting. Your captain was my home team's captain. Um, yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I wanted to go to a Kraken game. I wanted to go to hockey for the longest time. I wanted Seattle to have a hockey team forever because I used to go to Thunderbirds games all the time, which was our like lower tier hockey team. Um, but the Kraken games have been completely sold out. It's very hard to get a ticket. Excuse me, I'm like getting a scratchy throat. Um, Getting a scratchy throat here. But the hockey games have just been impossible to go to, and I haven't really been watching them on TV because I just really haven't had time to be watching. So I'm kind of waiting for the farm years to kind of go by here for a little while. I'm waiting for the farm season years to go by here because they're an expansion team. I'm waiting for them to really kind of get going here for a little bit before I try to purchase tickets. Basically, would be a good way to put it. If I'm going to go out and spend $300 or whatever to go to a game, it's going to be quite a they got to have a competitive team out there. You know what I mean? G.I. Jane is a work of art. I can't keep it up. That sucked. Yeah, it was a terrible movie. Nobody's talking about movies, a non-event. I talk about movies quite a bit. Film is kind of like, I want to make film. That's one of the reasons I started-ish doing YouTube. People that have followed me for a long time know that I sort of started doing YouTube because I was on forums way back in the day. And I think you can go back and look at my first YouTube video that I posted on this channel. It's not the first video I've been in on YouTube, but it's the first one I posted to this channel. I didn't even talk in it because I literally was I had like an iPod or whatever, like an original one. And it's just me walking through, showing off all my fish tanks, just so I could have it as a sort of placeholder when talking to people on forums and stuff. But after kind of a year or two or three or five or whatever, I kind of started to realize that YouTube would have been a good place for me to start working on creative endeavors as far as like film and video go. And so that's why I've been sort of like putting so much time and effort into making YouTube content, just kind of learning film technique and all that kind of stuff, the DIY way, which goes much slower than being able to put all of your time into it. But, one of the downsides is that I don't think a lot of people understand that you go watch a movie and it takes 14 months with hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of people working on a film to get a movie out, to get a movie out to you, the consumer, that you watch in like a 2-hour period and you're done. So, like, it is my goal to be making long form short films or documentaries or whatever you want to call them, and just trying to figure out how to sort of navigate my way through that. I've been, working on a lot of stuff to try and get things out there, get some good ideas and stuff like that. As someone who grew up in a physically abusive situations, I find slapping someone on TV gross and triggering. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And for people out there that are trying to normalize it and just be like, yeah, that's how a dude does, or that's how a man stands up for his wife. It's like, I honestly do not even believe that is the case. I believe that, like, if you are in an honest relationship, the way that you stand up for your spouse, whether it be a man or a woman or whoever, is the hours and hours and days and days and days that you are collaborating and helping and working on having a positive relationship and doing the things that you are trying to do as a couple, you know? Let's not devalue the average people out there that are going to work 50 hours a week, getting up every morning, driving out there, getting, you know, getting money to pay the bills, to continue moving forward and doing the things that you're going to do. But we suddenly want to like applaud a guy who decides to lash out violently. I don't know. It seems pretty stupid to me, especially considering how public they've been about all of their intermarital problems. How apparently, you know, one of them, apparently Jada Pinkett Smith was cheating on him with some other dude, and then Will Smith was real mad about it or something. I don't know. I don't even really know. I don't follow that kind of stuff, but I had heard about it, right? And I think that the whole situation is super weird. There's probably like just a whole lot of toxic nonsense behavior going on there, and there's really a wonder if they do have a good relationship or not. But if the American people suddenly decide like, oh, this is how you stand up for your wife or whatever, like how many people are going to be slapping each other at the grocery store or getting in fights in the street or getting in fights while they're driving around and doing all this stuff. And, you know, one of the things that was brought up to me by a friend recently was how bad it is and how violent it is in the United States. And I encourage them to look up the crime statistics in the United States. You know, the crime statistics in the United States, and realize how sharply the frequency of crime has been happening in the United States since just the beginning of the 80s up until now. And the fact is that like most crimes, I wouldn't say that most crimes are reported, but there's some kind of report around a lot of more crime now than was back then. You know, it seems a little bit wild. Remel Bynum says slaps with consent sounds fun. Everything with consent sounds fun. It's fine. If you have consent from both people, do what you like. It doesn't bother me. Last time I slapped someone, they had literally begged me to do it, but that's totally a different subject. Well, yeah, that is a different subject. At Joel, random question: do you use an interface for your microphone, and do you have a Mac or Windows? I've been trying to see what's a decent hub to use for Mac. I use an audio interface, yes, because this microphone will not plug into any computer I've ever met. So, yes, I use an audio interface. I think the one I use is just the Scarlett. So, watch out, guys. This is a sponsored link I'm going to add here. The one that I use is the 3rd gen. This one right here. All right, this is the one I use here. But beware, this is a sponsored link, folks. So you know how it goes. Paste. That's the sponsored link right there. This is just a basic audio interface that'll take an XLR input. If you don't know what XLR is, it's this cord right here. Oh, this one's stuck. Oh my God, this cord's stuck. Never mind. I don't think I can show you this. It's stuck around the bottom of the table over here. I wonder if I zip tied it. I might have zip tied it. Oh, hold on. I can show you the bottom of the microphone. Here we go. Let me pull up my So this input right here with the three prong round guy, that's an XLR. So this microphone right here won't plug into your. It won't plug in. It won't plug into your computer. Your computer doesn't take XLR as an input. I wonder if it'll even focus on it. There we go. Now it will. But it won't. XLR won't go into your computer. This is a PGA 48 cardioid polar pattern microphone right here, so you can get hot on the mic and start yelling at people like, "Hey, what's up with your wife? She shaved her head or something. I don't know what's going on. I'm a dumb comedian." Right? Yeah, you can do that if you like. But yeah. Yeah, I just use this Scarlett audio interface. It works pretty well. It's not great, but it works pretty well. It will convert XLR audio input to just go straight into your computer via USB. It's kind of the easiest way to do it. There are much better audio interfaces out there now. That's what I would recommend looking around at the best ones that you could find around that price point. Anything else that's more expensive than that is just probably kind of a waste. Let's see. I wonder if there's another audio interface on here that's really worthwhile. Through a cursory glance through Amazon links. PreSonus sells a good one. I used to use the old PreSonus audio box. This is what I used to use like a long time ago. These guys have been in the game for a crazy amount of time. So that's definitely an audio interface company that has been around forever. So chances are you'll at least get a decent product with pretty good support. I know that a lot of people use the what is it? Go XLR? Was it XLR Go? What is that? Go XLR. I think it's Go XLR. I think it's what it is. I know a lot of people use Go XLR, but it's $516 for the vocal effects. Mini online broadcaster, USB. Click. Hello. Load. Sometimes we got to get these screens to load around here. What are the inputs on this? You would think it's XLR inputs, but it won't even show you the back of it. So I think you have to read whether or not you can put an XLR into it. 3-step setup. 12 sound cards equals 1 Go XLR Mini. I don't know. I've heard a lot of people use the Go XLR. I don't even know if it has XLR inputs, but maybe this is the one that you want to go for. But yeah, I don't know. I've never used those, so hopefully that's a good place to start. If I was trying to skip an audio interface, I would 100% go with this microphone right here that I'm going to link in the chat, which is an Amazon affiliate link. So if you don't want to buy stuff and give me a commission, then don't buy them through my links. But you can do that if you want. It doesn't change the price. The Federal Trade Commission says I got to tell you if I put links in the chat to do that. Yeah, this Shure MV7 microphone is sort of the best all-in-one. If you want to skip having any kind of audio interface. I really like having an audio interface because I can actually run, I don't know, I think I packed it away. Ooh, my mixer is back there. It's right behind me. You can see it. Oh my God, you can just see it during the show all day today, right back here. That's one of my mixers, which is getting ready to be put into the bin that's right over there for packing to move. One of the reasons I like having an audio interface is that I can run 16 channels into this mixer, and then I can split the inputs to right and left. A decent mixer's probably $200. A decent microphone's like 300, 400, 500, $1,000, whatever you want to spend on a microphone. You can go completely insane. You don't have to. But I can run like shotgun mics into this, and then I can just take the audio from this and put it into the interface. Is one of the big reasons I like to be able to do that. But you know, I mean, it kind of is what it is. Obviously, things get more and more expensive, but I have been building my audio and video versatility to be able to do longer format stuff. That's my whole goal with doing this channel, is being able to get the chance to do some bigger projects. You know, I honestly like, I have to say that without the time to work on these bigger projects, I don't know how well it's ever going to work out, if that's my plan. Because I've been piddling away working on these projects the little bit while I can, and we've clearly, like, I've never gone over the hump on this channel to being a full-time creator. There just hasn't been the desire for people that want me to do that. So, if after this move, maybe things will become a little bit easier, which I really doubt. I really doubt that's going to be the case. But, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with some of the other projects I've been working on, if they get a chance to take off or not, sort of separate of the aquarium community, mainly because I think one of the big issues is that, like, I spend all of my time working on aquarium stuff all the time, and you just get kind of burnt out on it, answering the exact same question over and 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 over again, of like, my nitrates are 93, what do I do? And it's like, you should add some plants to your aquarium. I don't want to add plants to my aquarium. Then do a water change. I don't want to do a water change. What do I do? Well, you could add carbon and some other pre-filter that could pull some of that out of the water column. I don't have any money. I don't want to do that. Okay, you know, there's been a lot of times where I've gone down the rabbit hole with people, like trying to help people, that end up leaving you with like a really discouraged feeling by the end of it, because they just don't want to take your advice. They don't want to do what you're going to advise them to do. And they just don't want to do it. Like even today I got, hold on, what was that comment? I got a comment earlier that sort of stood out as sort of, it's not a bad comment. So I hope you guys understand that. I love the aquarium community. I'm going to continue to do aquariums. I'm going to keep doing all this stuff. I just don't know how deeply I'm going to get into making aquarium videos, just because of like how my schedule works out now. But like here's a comment from earlier today that I got, was, the thing I've heard about fluval stratum is it will break down over time where fluorite will not, with a question mark on it. So, okay, first off, aqua soils will break down. Volcanic soil will break down. Volcanic rock will break down. Everything will break down over time. So how long is the timeline here, right? If you're talking about certain people that have said that their aqua soil broke down over a year, 2 year, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, whatever product you use does have a timeline that it will be operating the way that you want it to operate, right? If you don't think that's the case, look up the Oklahoma Dust Bowl, because the earth gave out, right? Because of the abuse from the farmers. They overfarmed what would be equated to multiple states of an area that turned into a dust bowl because the land couldn't handle to be farmed anymore the way that they were doing it. I have Fluval stratum that I put into a tank when I moved here 5 years ago, and it's still fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Has it broken down? There may or may not be a little bit of it broken down in the tank, but it's fine. There's nothing wrong with the tank. And then it quickly followed up here with so in the long term, it balances out. Now, I don't know what that means. In the long term, it balances out in regard to fluorite versus stratum. I don't know what that means. It's all personal preference and what you're trying to accomplish. Okay? If you're looking for an inexpensive hobby, although there are ways to save a little, this is not it. So I guess it all just boils down to personal preference via this commenter today. That it's just personal preference, I guess. Which the title of that video is Fluorite and Stratum Planted Aquascape Substrate Volume Comparison. It's literally what that video is titled. It's what this video is about. I think it's is this video like 5 minutes long? I don't even know how long this video is. Let me look it up here. Overview. Oh no, it's 11 minutes long. So yeah, sorry, it is way too long, but the average view duration is 5 minutes and 13 seconds. So that's how long it should have been. It should have been a 5-minute video. So it's not as short as it should be. Admittedly, my fault. Fault number 2. Apparently, I didn't make it clear that I'm comparing the volume versus cost. I think this video is so long because I didn't do any edits. I didn't do any cut edits to show that this is me opening the bag and this is me dumping it in there, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I don't know. But that's the comment that I get on it about, like, you know, it's all personal preference. You could save some money, but you might not be able to save some money, and then it might break down, but it might last forever. You know, and I'll admit it, man. Like, it gets tiring dealing with this over and over again. And I've never gotten to the point where I would be able to automate any of this kind of stuff. So now there's, like, I don't know, hundreds of comments on this video that have, like, never been responded to. Because, like, as you can tell, right now took this long to sit here and kind of go through, like, let me just respond to this one comment. You know, and there are a lot of YouTubers out there that respond to their own comments. I gave it up. I gave it up a while ago because I realized it was eating up like a half an hour to an hour out of my day. Like every morning when I got up, I would get up, I would come to the office, I would respond to YouTube comments, which in turn would get responded to, so then I'd have to respond to the response. And I realized just like I was wasting so much time trying to talk to people, which is why when YouTube memberships came into play, I started up a Discord so that people could chat with me about stuff on Discord sort of at leisure, and or have other people respond with some kind of solution, right? So that we could have sort of a community vibe to stuff and not have to constantly be banding back and forth on YouTube comments as to like what's going on. You know. And yeah, so maybe I don't know, maybe that sort of explains like my mindset at this point. Somebody said, what about some partnership stuff with the co-op, like a collaboration? The co-op and I, so the co-op as a business, we collaborate regularly. We collaborate every week. It occupies a good 40 hours to 45, probably 45 hours of my week. I don't know if you guys realize that I'm building the expansion for the store, which is the company, the Aquarium Co-op company. So I literally have to go do that labor, right? Which is 3 really long days. I don't even know how you really calculate the hours. We have an agreement that I do X amount of work and I get paid X amount of money, which is totally separate from YouTube. It doesn't have anything to do with YouTube. It doesn't have anything to do with this channel. Like, yes, we have content in common. Alyssa Bentley says, they already did Real Fish Talk for a while. You know, like, I don't know how to explain this stuff to people. Like, we did 100 podcasts. Corey and I did 100 podcasts, which not only with the podcast time, but the setup, the breakdown, the driving, the travel to go do the podcasts. You know, did we do 100? I thought we did 100. I don't know. We did the Real Fish Talk, and we knew what the market was for that. We could have kept doing it, but it was taking up my time, Corey's time, and Jimmy's time to do it. You know, like, you can't just run a business at loss just because some people like a thing, right? Like, businesses go out of business because they don't make enough money. That's how it works. I've told you guys I'm going to continue to do the YouTube channel to whatever degree I feel comfortable doing, because I just have to pay for extreme internet and other stuff that I'm working on and the Minecraft server and the Discord and all that kind of stuff. That's basically what I have to pay for at this point. You know, I've spent a lot of money on production equipment and stuff like that, which, yes, most of it still works, so we're pretty good. So that was taking up a lot of time, so we stopped doing that. We've made collaborative videos building stuff. They didn't do that well. They did good, but they didn't do that well. As far as, like, maybe something new, like building construction video things, maybe. So here's the big issue. How much do I pay Corey to come work on a video with me? And if somebody can come up with a number in the chat, I'd love to hear it. How much do I pay Corey to come be in a video with me? Right? To be on my channel. How much do I pay him for that? How much does Corey pay me to go be in a video with him? How does this work? How does this work as a business, right? Everything that the Aquarium Co-op and myself have collaborated on has been a non-monetary exchange type situation. I've gotten products to test from Corey. Corey tried out a what do you call it? Commission-based influencer type program. And I was way at the top compared to everybody else that was in that. Right. So, you know, I did okay on selling stuff from the Aquarium Co-op, but none of the other YouTubers were really following through on it. So it essentially ended up being sort of a loss, right? So that's really the kind of questions that I have for people is, like, if I'm supposed to get people to work on a project, how much am I supposed to compensate them? Like, Corey has 2 full-time jobs running a business, essentially. I know from being around him and being friends with him, the guy is working all the time. Even when he's not working, he's working all the time. Excuse me, I'm I don't know what's going on. My voice is going out today. But I had pizza right before the show here. It's probably got something to do with it. But Corey is like constantly working. So if you want him to do something that is work related as his friend, he'd be like, well, what's it worth to me to like do more work over here when I already got work that needs to get done over there, right? And I don't think people really understand that. I just don't think the average people do. For me, I'm already working a full-time job. I'm working a part-time job, and I have a kid. So, God, I'm like getting all phlegmy today. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, everybody has obligations and things that they got to do. But it's like, but what would we collaborate on? We've already kind of done a bunch of the collaborative stuff. I don't know what is going on with whatever is caught in my throat right now. Am I like dehydrated or something? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm dying. What the hell? This is weird. I don't know. But regardless of any of that stuff, like we've definitely worked together on a bunch of projects. The Aquarium Co-op's doing great. Corey's doing a great job. Jimmy's doing a great job filming, editing. Zenzo's creating content. Girl Talks Fish is creating content. Who else? I don't know. There's a bunch of people making stuff for Aquarium Co-op because they're commercials and stuff. Like that's basically what they're making. They're making content for you guys, and I'm here for it. Like it's fantastic. Jimmy came by, and we filmed a bunch of stuff at the new space, and then I gave him a bunch of like time lapse videos and stuff like that I'd shot for the store expansion, and he's gonna make a video about it, and you guys are gonna get to see it when it's done. But the reality is, like, if, like, let's say, Corey and Jimmy and myself make a video. Let's say that, okay? First off, why would I put it on this channel when I only have something like 30,000 subscribers and there's just not even that many people that show up to watch my content anyhow? If I had an insanely awesome video, it might get 50,000 views, right? If Corey put out a really bad video, it might get 50,000 views. You see what I'm saying? So like, let's say if I use the resources of Corey and Jimmy, like, who's gonna pay them, for their time? And the reality is that, like, people would say, oh, they should just do it for fun. And it's like, okay, why don't you go pour concrete for fun? Why don't you go work at Target for fun and just not get paid for it? Or, I don't know, go file TPS reports with no cover sheet on them for fun. I don't know why you guys don't just volunteer your time at work to do work, right? I don't know why you guys don't do that. I think you should. I think you really should just stop accepting a paycheck from work, because probably it's just like a huge waste of time otherwise, right? So it's kind of one of those things where you're just like, and if I want to go hang out with my friends, I just want to go hang out with my friends, right? At what point do I have to monetize every single thing that I do forever, right? It's very weird. Like if I just wanted to go hang out with my friends and talk about fish tank stuff, I probably shouldn't do that because it should be filmed and monetized, right? I guess that's the point. I guess that's the point that I'm making, is that every single thing you do ever in life should definitely be filmed and put up on the internet and monetized, so that you could side hustle your way to being Gary V, right? I guess. You just got to wake up and grind. You got to wake up and grind. You got to work 9,000 hours a week. That's how you're going to get there. That's how you're going to get there, guys. You know how you're going to get to the top? You got to rise and grind. You got to work 30 hours a day. Never sleep. Just grind. You got to work. You got to hustle. You got to side hustle. You got to have a side hustle for your hustle. You're hustling another hustle. Yeah. Not enough time in the day to volunteer because of the issues of YouTube. I don't know. I mean, I volunteered some of my time the other day. I didn't film it and make a YouTube video about it, though. So maybe I should. I like the Corvus and Alyssa together with the back and forth when it's working and not working. Moist. It's moist, bro. It's moist. Everybody knows that. Yeah, I don't know. Many times you'll have to teach and reteach people basic chemistry before they understand tanks and maintenance, and by then they feel like they're offended. And they feel like offended and go to a large corporation. Yeah, generally. And I remember somebody a while ago, they were like, "Oh man, you're just frustrated because you're jealous." And it's like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, is it jealousy? Okay, I guess, or whatever. But like, am I not allowed to be frustrated because somebody else is making? And I'm not even talking about Corey. I mean, I would be talking about the people that like fell into it on accident and are making a ton of money off the content that they make. But like, I would like to make money off of my content. Yes. Does that make me jealous? I don't know. It kind of just makes me want to be able to like pay my bills and work on projects that I want to work on. It's like how many people volunteer for their local aquarium society. Yeah, I mean, also at the same time, like, a lot of people don't have time to volunteer, you know? Like, Americans are required to work all the time, basically, is what it boils down to. And, and I think a reality of that was, Vicky's working full time and she was volunteering to do accounting for a local charity group. And it was eating up like every other Sunday, like the whole entire day, to just do the accounting for a volunteer group, which for a charity group that does volunteer work. She was doing that, and it was eating up every other Sunday where we could just hang out with our daughter, go do fun stuff with our kid, just stand outside with our kid, just do whatever Sunday crap. But the whole day was being eaten up because she was having to do the accounting and like bring the accounting register back to being correct by all these volunteers, like not inputting things correctly and stuff. And she really liked doing it. She liked volunteering. She liked helping out a charity. But I was like, look, if you gave this to an actual accountant, it would take them an hour to get it done. And they're like, yeah, but they don't have the money to pay for it. And I'm like, you don't have the extra weekend day to be doing this, right? And I think it's just kind of a perfect example is that like all week is go, 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 go. Come to weekend time. Well, I guess it's go, 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 go. Make content, I guess. It is like who has the time? I worked the music industry and volunteer at zoos and aquariums across Canada. Oh, the zoos and aquariums were your entertainment? Yeah. I don't know. Victor Cucco. Have you played electric guitar often? Actually, I don't. I do not like playing. I do not like playing guitar. So there's always a spot for a guitarist person to play some guitar. If you're good around me, because I don't like playing guitar. I'll get out saxophone, drums. What I don't know. I play a bunch of weird things, but um, I don't like playing guitars. It's not my thing at all. I just don't. Do 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 do. Well, I don't know. I think I've irritated people enough for today. I'll no super chats, no new members. Okay, talk to you later.